to join.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join us.
Hi, Yvette. Hi, Elroy. Hi, Serena. Serena, could you please just write a comment of what today's conversation will be about so we can pin it if that's okay? Thank you so much. How is everybody doing on this Sunday? Everyone good? It's yourself, Janelle and Kaz, your host of Now Chat Show, No Ordinary Woman Chat Show.
Good evening, good evening. We're just going to wait for a few more people to join because, you know, this conversation is really important and we want as many people to be with us as possible. You know, I don't think any of us need to have an explanation as to what has taken place this week. The atrocity that happened in America, you know, a black man, George Floyd, was killed brutally by the police in broad daylight, in front of the world, literally. So I guess first of all, we just want to send condolences out to the Floyd family and to anybody else actually who has lost their life at the hands of whether it be brutality by the police because of their skin colour or just brutality by anybody, any form of racism. You know, we send our condolences out to anybody who's lost their life. And there, for everyone we've got on camera, there are so many more that haven't been captured, so we're very aware of that. You know, it was quite difficult for us to make the decision to actually do this live, not because it's not important, but because of the subject matter that
it's so sensitive and it's real. Do you know what I mean? And the fact of it being so real, it affects everybody. You know, it's not just us as black people, it's white people, it's, you know, it's so many other ethnic groups that it affects as well.
It's humanity.
It's humanity because we're all part of the human race. So I'm just going to pin this.
While Kaz pins the conversation, so we just to let you know how,
thanks, Serena,
we're going to go about this evening. We have two guests. One is Miael Bigs McGeachy, and we also have another guest, Elroy Cahill, both of whom will be coming on and sharing their views. And we just want to be really clear, actually, that this conversation is about us searching for real solutions. So many people have been asking, what can we do? What can we do? Change must come. We need to make a change, but how can we do that? So we really just want to focus on that. After we've had our guests on, we will be going for a second hour where we will invite you, everybody that's watching, to participate in the live and share your views and share them constructively.
Yes, definitely. I think at the same time, we've got to be mindful. This isn't a platform for a rant. We are a platform to inspire. So if you want to rant, sorry, this is not the platform for you. We do want you to be mindful to those who are actually watching. So please be mindful about the language that you use. Ensure that it's very intelligent. It's not going to offend anybody, because we're not here to offend anybody or to blame anybody in particular or anything of that nature. We just want to have a conversation. We're looking, like Janelle said, we're looking for tangible solutions. You know, what can we do to make that difference?
That's right. So we really thank you for joining us. As I say, our first guest coming up is Miael Bigs McGeachy. He is a cultural ambassador, cultural curator, and he's also created his own cultural entertainment and lifestyle brand called Rockers LDN. Biggs, I hope you're on the line because we're about to request you now. Let's see if we can find him. Yes, he is. So stand by.
Biggs, we're requesting you right now.
So as we wait for Biggs to join us, as I said, you will have an opportunity to share your...
Hello, ladies.
Hey, Biggs. Wipe your screen for us. We want to see you. We want to see all of your screen. Yeah, please, just wipe your screen for us a little bit.
One sec. Hi,
Guys,
good evening.
please be mindful, guys. Obviously, this is Instagram Live, so there may be some technical issues. There may be some internet connection interruption as well. So please give us grace, because obviously it's not a professional platform, but you know, we are working with the Wi-Fi's and the connections that we do have. Thank you.
So Biggs, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, ladies?
Good.
We're good.
Well, yeah.
Under the circumstances, we are good. We just felt really compelled, you know. We thank you actually, Biggs, because we only had a conversation within the last couple of days for you to come on this live. So we thank you for making the time to actually join us. But we just felt compelled. We actually had a guest lined up for today, but we felt compelled, given what has happened, to actually tackle this subject and talk about it and really start that conversation and get the conversation going. And that conversation, our intention is for it to move to action. So first of all, I've given a brief introduction about yourself, but do you just want to explain a little bit more about yourself, who you are and what you do?
Yeah, Miael Bigs McGeachy, as you said, we do lots of things. We do events. I would call myself like a cultural ambassador for like Afro-Caribbean culture. I came to the UK at like 10, 11 years old, so I'm like full Jamaican, but basically half raised in the UK. So we bring both of those experiences to the board. Our whole thing with Rockers LDN, I've been in the music business like 15 years now. Me and my business partner, Ben Ryan, who you also know very well, set up a business which we thought needs to portray Caribbean culture in the right way. Because often, as you know, our culture gets portrayed in the wrong way. You know, kind of down-pressed and downtrodden, which we are very down-pressed and downtrodden. But our culture is very upful. So we just always wanted to make a platform for upful culture. We also engage with mainstream brands, you know, such as Vogue, such as Clark's. We engage with record labels, VP Records, Sony BMG. We engage with radio stations, NTS Radio and One Extra, all about giving up-and-coming Jamaican talent, you know, musicians, artists, performers, just a platform, a mainstream platform. So that's kind of what we do.
And we've had you know, I met you guys, you know, going over more than a year ago now, and you know, I was really inspired and in awe of what you guys do, having had the opportunity to work with you guys, and I've worked with you guys since. Definitely. And just the philosophy that you both stand for, you know, for me is really inspirational and admirable. In that, our culture is powerful, our culture is global. Yeah. Our culture is of tremendous value, and all too often we've seen our culture appropriated by others, and we need to own that space. And that is where you guys have come in and really led the way and shown the way. And actually, what you guys do is inclusive. It's not this is our culture and it's for us. It's inclusive. Everybody needs to appreciate our culture. So, you know, that's how we kind of came across each other and started working together. But of course, unless you're living under a rock, you will obviously know, you know, anybody out there will know what has happened this week, you know, the atrocious
and what's been happening.
What's been happening, we're gonna get to that, what's been happening, but the atrocious slaughter of a man, of a black man, in broad daylight on the street. So the ripple effect has just been insane, you know. I've just felt so heavy this week. I know you have.
I'm absolutely just like, do you know what I mean? And I'm sorry if I seem very silent in this live. I will make it very clear to you guys. It's been a really emotional roller coaster. I have been in, myself and Janelle, we've been in tears today as well. We don't have the solution to everything, but this is the reason why we're having this conversation. So don't look at us, say we're given a solution. We want to have the conversation to find out what those tangible solutions will look like so that we can go forward.
Yeah. But, you know, Biggs, as I said, we've been speaking, I've spoken to you as well prior to this, and Kaz and I, as black women, as black people, we feel it. And I just want to make it clear that this is about oppression of our race, if you like, but this is bigger than that. This is about the oppression that is perpetrated by a system and a regime worldwide in all shapes and forms, right? Now, we feel the pain, but we've also recognized that nobody can feel the level of pain watching what has been demonstrated to the world as much as a black man.
Yeah.
And that's why we invited you on the show. You know, somebody who's a thought leader. We really wanted to hear from you. So I guess the first question is, how do you feel, Biggs? How do you feel having seen what you've seen?
Well, you know, it's fun, like seeing this latest episode that's happened with how the policeman just has his knees on this guy's neck. It's funny, you know, it hasn't really penetrated deep yet because I'm in Africa right now, as you know, so I'm kind of taken aback from it. But growing up, we kind of grow to expect that. We know, be careful when encountered by the police. You know, it's always been like we're conspiracy theorists or we high because we smoke weed and we're against the system or that. We just always know police are not our friends. You know, you don't call the police. We don't call the police on each other. When we fight, when we're young, I've been jumped before on the bus, and it's not something you do is call the police on another black man because you know how that can end up. What really hit me, to be honest, is so funny because I was discussing this with you, Janelle. Like, some people might find it weird that what affected me more, I wouldn't say more than seeing this man being murdered on broad daylight in front of a camera. Just the brazenness that the police don't care that there's cameras, there's witness. They could just strangle a black man to death. You know what hurt me as well, deeply actually, and it's funny, some people might disagree, was that white lady in the park weaponizing the police against the black man. Like, that hit me because just
say that again, because I was actually, we had the conversation, I was searching for the phrase that you used, but you've just encapsulated it. I couldn't remember the phrase. I was trying to tell you, Kaz, right? Weaponizing
the police against the black man.
Against a black man. So sorry, continue.
Yeah, so that we growing up with that. You know, I grew up in Hackney, so we know about weaponized politicization against the black male, and the struggle for the black male and the black female is very similar in a way. But the thing is, the fear of black masculinity is so great against the system. Like, they will literally kill us. We know that. You know, when you're in the shops and you're young and, you know, you might teeth a little sweetie and all that. You know, if that security guard, they catch you and they carry in the back room, how he's going to beat you. You have to wonder if he's trying to kill me. You know, we used to go to W.H. Smith. I remember, you know, I could say stuff most people didn't talk about. When we was 14, 15 years old, we go to W.H. Smith like everyone else in Brent Cross. You might take a Parker pen or something like that. Or maybe it was just me. I don't know. I was a bad boy. But we always know, don't get caught. We know the police are not your friends. We know the security system's not your friends. So we know the fear of the black male is so high, even in schools and stuff like that. Like, our deputy head, I went to St. Mary's in Hendon, and our deputy head teacher is like, he hated us. And Hendon was a white area, but as you know, there's a lot of Northwest youths used to go there, Harlesden youths, Church Road youths, and I don't know how that happened. It used to be a white school, then all of a sudden it just turned into a black school. And the headmaster and the deputy head and some of the old vanguard of the teachers, they literally hated us. And it's only when I got older and I understood the fear of black masculinity. When you're a black boy, 14 years old, you're the same size as a fully grown white man, right? Your voice is just as deep. We reach puberty faster, as you know, we grow faster, we're stronger, we're faster. That's undeniable. That's why we're always a heavyweight championship of the world. We're always a 100-meter champ, we're always a 400-meter champ. There's something in the genes of African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, and Africans, which is probably why they chose us to enslave us. And the fear that the white system has of black masculinity, we grew up understanding that. So, answer to your question, I'm not diverging from the topic. Yeah, it really did hurt. It really did hurt me seeing that guy being choked to death. But sadly, I kind of feel like we expect that, you know? So that to me wasn't, you know, I have some white friends who are now so hurt by it and all their this and they're posting and everyone's, I'm like, is this the first time you've seen that? Like, that happens in the UK. Like, if you got taken into Stoke Newington police station back in the late 90s, you could die. You know, we know that.
Yeah. You got bust up.
You could die, you know?
You know, from my own experience, you know, growing up in Northwest London, growing up on an estate, I have seen, and this is when we were in our teens, police would come around our area all the time and terrorize us, literally.
Of
And
course.
I remember one day in particular, they arrested a young guy, threw him in the back, said he fit it's always you fit the description, yeah?
Of course. Young black male.
Let's just insert some words. You are black. Reality.
Exactly.
And actually, Kaz and I have made a decision today. We are not going to couch our words. We are not going to pretty it up. We're not going to style it to make anybody feel comfortable. We're keeping it real. They put him in the back of this van. He went in the back of the van. They said to answer questions. When he came out, he could barely walk and he was bawling. He said they bust him up in the van. Now, none of us could help him in the van. This was a young, he couldn't have been more than about 16, 17. Nothing that he could have done could have warranted that. So you're absolutely right. It's like, the worry is the acceptance. It's like we've gone through this life and it's not just it's not just with police brutality. It's with the racism is systemic. It's right across the piece. It's like every layer.
It's weaponized. It's weaponized. It's in school. It's in the hospitals. How quickly they are to section us. The non-adherence of acceptance to our culture. The fact that we are a little bit louder. Our chests push out a little bit more. We're a little bit boisterous more because that's our culture. That's how we create this amazing food, this amazing music, everything that we create. But they use it to benefit them and weaponize it against us. We were used to that in school. You know, when we used to go to school, we come from Northwest and we're going to Hendon. And we know the minute we get off the train from Harlesden to Hendon, you just know it's a whole different world you're in. And at any moment, anything could happen. So we used to go to school in groups of 5 and 10. And that was in the late 90s, the early 2000s. Like, you'd get caught slipping if you went to school alone. Yes, you know, like we wouldn't go to school alone. We'd have to go to school 5 of the man, then we go to school. And that 5 man, them, we're talking, we're joking. We might have some patois slangs that, you know, words might be perceived as swearing and things like that. And the outside community are looking at us as a gang, not knowing it's 5 black boys who are scared to go to school alone.
Yeah.
So we walk in a group. That's how these gangs are formed, because the weaponization and the brutalization of the system against us, how quickly we are to get hospitalized for mental health trauma. Look how many young black men are in the madhouse right now. For what?
Or in the jailhouse. Let's keep it real. In the jailhouse.
Exactly. I mean, people like what's happened with smiley culture. That's not,
of course.
Just saying, even with that, you understand what I'm saying?
Just explain, Kaz, because there's going to be people watching who won't know.
In terms of what happened to smiley culture, where, you know, the police went into his house and they basically, I can't remember the ins and the outs and the depths of the story, but they basically said that he stabbed himself.
Of course, they killed Smiley.
They killed him, but yet nobody's been charged for that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is the reality of the system that we are under.
Mark Duggan was executed. He was executed.
I mean, even when we even look back into the 80s with Yvonne Ruddock, who had a birthday party for her 16th birthday party in New Cross, the New Cross fire as well. Even that's been unresolved. Stephen Lawrence, do you know what I mean? It's just like there's so many accounts. As much as we're looking across the pond, but we also got to look at here as well, because our young boys, this is like this is them. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're talking about this, Brixton, when you was growing up, what the is our youth them going through right now?
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And we've got to also look at the media. That's what's being portrayed all the time, endlessly. I know a whole heap of youths, that are doing extremely well, extremely intelligent, but they won't be posting up that. Oh no, we can't be doing that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's just the languages and what they're utilizing to make us look as if we are you've got to be fearful of those black people.
No, but you know what it boils down to? It's economic, because what you have to understand, if you understood how we got to these places, right? So in the last 400 or 500 years, the system was built on the blood, sweat, tears, and oppression of our ancestors. That's never been dealt with. So, you know, 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. They got given a country. They're the place that America donates the most foreign aid to. They got given Hollywood, they got given everything. The Indians in Uganda that got expelled, they all got corner shops from the British government. They all got relocated, everything. economically they cannot deal with what they have to deal with us. So what we have to always be in the category of other. Once we are other, then it's okay that we were enslaved for 300 years. We were colonized for 200 years. And for the last 50 years, we've been culturally appropriated, which is just as big as colonization, because our culture is our livelihood. That's our industry. But who benefits from black culture? You know, who is actually benefiting from black culture, which is mainstream, the forefront of mainstream culture right now? Who's benefiting?
Look at the Versus battle just the other day. That one, the numbers, the engagement, the attraction around the world has been phenomenal. Whether you knew about Bounty Killer or Beenie Man before,
you know now.
You know,
You know now.
You know now. You absolutely do. So
we bring the vibe. That's what we do. Exactly. I say we bring the vibe. That's who we are. You know, can you imagine when you have to really go back into history and study what we've been through? I think if any other race had been through what we had been through, the 600 years of systematic decimation of everything that we're about, the fact that we've recreated a creolized culture and mixed everything that was taken from us, got back some of it, added some new things, and we're still at the forefront of mainstream society. What does that say about black people, especially Afro-Caribbean people? Why is that so scary to the white establishment? There's many reasons. You know, we're procreating. They're not procreating. Their numbers, they're old. We've got lots of kids. You know, there's lots of young black people running around. So they have to find different ways to curb this. So the fact that this guy, it's funny because I see everybody posting. A lot of my friends feel so sad. A lot of my friends who weren't into this black radicalism, all they're posting now is this. You know, Janelle, we literally, that didn't surprise me. You know, I don't know. It seemed like such a big surprise. That did not surprise me at all. We made some strides. If you understand some things. I study history, so when you understand, anybody who's watching this now can Google some of these things I'm about to say. The FBI was created to watch Marcus Garvey, right? And then they kept them on to watch what the Black Panther movement were doing. All of these American secret agents are watching, they were created to watch Black Power movements because it was so scary. The power, we don't have a black pound. We don't unite, but we spend the most money, but we are so divided and the system divides us. And what happens, because we are so capable and apt of making it, even in the most adverse situations, a lot of us make it out of this hole. But what happened is there's no concept of blackness or Pan-Africanism anymore. So once we make it out of this hole, we just do what we're doing and then forget about the brother who can't seem to make it out of the hole. And that's our issue. Our issue is unity. The minute that we have a black pound, like there's a pink pound. Do you remember when Puma was supporting Jamaica? And then the pink pound said to Puma, you have to pull that sponsorship or we're going to pull the pink pound from Puma. And Puma pulled the fucking sponsorship from Jamaica. Can you imagine if black people started doing that with the black pound? What would happen?
Come on now. Come on.
You're right. You know, in terms of it does start from economics. It really does. And when you don't have economic control, unity, and power, all else is lost. And I'm not saying that we don't have hope. We do have hope, but like you say, we have to figure out how we unite, not just as a race, but as humanity. I really want to express that this has to talk about humanity as well, because you know what? Injustice to anyone, anywhere, in the words of Martin Luther King, is injustice to everybody, everywhere. That's right. I paraphrase, but it's injustice to everybody everywhere. And if we have now gotten into this society where people can stand back and watch and see injustice and say, oh, yo, that's not happening to me.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me.
It's in America.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me. But the thing is, going back to even when you're saying about economics and everything else, but we need to be educated. You understand what I'm saying? And it has to, I personally believe, for us, we need healing.
Definitely. We've got PTSD.
Because think about it, Biggs. When you think about slavery, when that finished, imagine you've been slave for how many years, you know, you've seen your grandfather, your mother, everybody get killed, raped, everything, Then it's a thing where, oh, you're free, but there's no assistance to deal with what you've been through, endured. Bear in mind, you ain't even got a pot to piss in, you don't have nowhere to live. But you have to just start that you're free. but your mentality, your mind is still, you're still in slavery.
You're in economic slavery. You're still in mental slavery. You're still in emotional slavery, because none of that has been dealt with. And that's one of the things that we are going to tackle and we are going to talk about, is the healing that is required. The healing that is required for us as a people. We have to heal self in order to heal us collectively, so that we can join together and unite. And that's one of the things that we've suggested is the solution, and how do we go forth with that healing. And it's not just with slavery that the trauma has happened that we haven't healed from. There are so many things that have happened within my life that I've witnessed, friends of mine that have been killed and murdered, people who've been incarcerated, sectioned. All of this is trauma. And when I look back, when we look back with it, we don't talk about it. Guess what? We just move on with it. We just get on with it.
But then you've got to even look at the youngsters now. They're seeing their brethren being killed, 12, etc. You understand what I'm saying? They don't get no counselling. Even though the school does offer counselling for the youths there, the parents more than likely say, "Son, do you need any counselling?" They'll be like, "No, Mum, I'm good." That child, listen, get the counselling.
Exactly.
That youth needs to talk. What they've seen and what they've experienced is not normal.
It's post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's the same way that they counsel soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, but it doesn't happen to the youths in the street. I know growing up in the streets, like, the things that we go through. So we have lots of things to contend with. We're not blameless in this. You know, I'm not going to be one of these guys who pretend, because we spend a lot of time also harming and targeting each other, but that's a post-traumatic slavery syndrome. What do you do when you're a young black man? You hate yourself, but we're too proud to kill ourselves. So you killed somebody who's just like you, somebody who's raised with a black single mom just like you are, from a council estate just like you are, just 1 mile down the road. They're calling it postcode wars. What postcode is it? It's where the council gave your mum a flat and you're going to kill somebody over that. But it's a deeper issue. The system's not ready to deal with it, guys, because for one, it's economically, it's not viable for them. They owe us trillions of pounds, right? So, all right, we let go of slavery. We forgot about that. We let go of colonialism. We forgot about that. I'm so ardent. Our whole business module is kind of against cultural appropriation. We give a platform to everybody, but we find it so important that our culture is represented by us, because we understand the narrative, where it comes from. There's a reason the music is so good. There's a reason our food is so good. Our food's so good because we are given the worst bits of the meat, the stale rice. That's why I had to put coconut milk in it and beans, because it was all the broken rice bits. And now everybody's fucking making rice and peas. Everybody's making jerk chicken. We had to make jerk chicken because that's how we had to store our chicken underground in pimento wood to hide it from people. We had to cook food underground to not make the backer master know we're eating chicken. But now everybody's eating jerk chicken. So there's so many things that's being culturally appropriated from us. And once we get a hold of our culture and our narrative, we know the kind of billions of pounds that's in black culture. But we're just getting a trickle. We're getting a trickle of that money, you know, and that's now my issue that we need to do. Slavery is gone. They can't afford to pay us back. Colonialism's gone. The Queen's not going to give back all her diamonds. If the Queen ever gave back the diamonds that they have in the Tower of London, that will wipe away poverty in every black culture in the world. They've raped and pillaged everything from us, and we have everything still, and we're still alive, and we're still creating culture, and they're still killing us. Right? So I don't think, right now I'm in Africa, you know, and I know there's a lot of my brothers and sisters that say that's not the way to run away. But honestly, I have a controversial view. My view is that America and the UK is not our country. And they'll never give us a fair shout or a fair shake. Even though we built fucking England. You think I know that? If it wasn't for Afro-Caribbean people coming after World War II, who would have driven the buses? There could be no NHS without West Indian women. Right? West Indian women are the backbone of the NHS, of the social service system. You go to any job center, it's full of black women working in there. Right? So we are the system, but we need to take all those skills that we bring into places like England, America, and I think take it back to our countries. You know, we have problems that we face in our countries, but it's not racism. It's not the weaponization of police against black masculinity.
So tell us. You just explained, because I didn't introduce the fact that you're in Tanzania at the moment. But just tell us a bit about your journey. You're in Tanzania. Obviously, we're talking about solutions, and from your perspective, you think that is one of the solutions. I tend to agree in terms of repatriation. I don't believe it's running away. I actually believe that there is only so much you can endure and exist in a system that doesn't want you until you say, you know what? Gots to go. Have we lost you, Biggs?
Of course.
Biggs, are you still there?
You're still there? All right, you're spooling, but you're still there. So just tell us a bit about your, conscious of time, so tell us a bit about your story and how you're in Tanzania and what that means for you.
Okay, so right now I'm in Tanzania doing some farming. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you. Just carry on talking.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm in Tanzania doing some farming, and you guys know me. Like, anyone who knows me will laugh. Like, I find it epic that I've now become a farmer, because I'm like Mr. in the middle of the smoke kind of guy, in the middle of the party, you know. But I just really felt like it's time to practice what you preach. I've been talking this smoke for so long, living in London, trying to get my little crumbs out of the system, things like that, knowing how much money is in farming. You know, when I've invested in farming and things like that in Africa, knowing that my neighbors are Arabs and Chinese and Europeans. So I'm like, oh shit, these guys are millionaires. What are they doing? They're farming food in Africa and exporting it to their countries. So I decided to be here. My 2 children live here. I met the mother of my children in university in London. We're no longer together. We haven't been together in like 6 years, but we're still great friends. And I think we co-parent quite well. We have our glitches every now and again, but we get on really well. So Tanzania has always been a base for me, but I'd always come in, come out, come in, come out, come in. I run a few businesses here, etc. And now I just feel like this is the time. Like, I can't stay in London anymore begging for crumbs or begging for a piece of the pie. Like, I'm a king out here. You know, like, I literally get treated. I get treated like a powerful black man. Like, nobody follows me around in the store. In London, I mean, since I've got some gray in my beard, thank the Lord, the security stopped following me. I stopped getting certain little issues. We used to have, you know, little things. It doesn't matter. You have £5,000 in your pocket. You walk into an Asda or a Boots or a Tesco, and there's some security guard following you around the shop. I'm sick of getting used to stuff like that. I'm sick of ignoring things like that. I'm sick of ignoring the weaponization of the British cultural system against my masculinity. I'm sick of being considered too loud. I'm sick of being considered too boastful and too brash, which just basically means uppity nigger. That's what they will say. You're too loud. I mean, you mean I'm too uppity. Exactly. So I'm just sick of all that shit. And there will be a time I'll come back to London, and it will be a time soon. Like, my umbilical cord's still there somehow. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of family. We still have our business work. But this is where my mind, this is where my heart, this is where my spirit is right now. You know, this is where I feel most at home. You know, I'm literally with my brothers and sisters, and we are different. There is a drastic difference between Africans and Afro-Caribbeans, and we have a lot to teach each other. It's like I said, especially in East Africa. They are long-distance runners, right? We are sprinters. So it's about combining that high-energy burst, like exuberance, with that kind of long-distance, stick it in there, lasting kind of mentality. Once we learn from them and they learn from us and we unite in the right way. What surprised me the most when I first came to Africa, this is about 12, 13 years ago. I first came to Africa and I thought I was really going against the grain. You know, I thought I was a pioneer. I thought Africa, there was lions around, and I can't believe I'm in Africa, and I'm so great for being in Africa. And what blew my mind was how many white people were here, and how many Chinese people were here, and how many Arabs were here. And I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, can you imagine? They didn't teach us that Africa was amazing. They didn't teach us that we could come and live in Africa and make a business and make money, and our brothers and sisters are here. And they're awaiting our return, because we know how to function in this white European system. We're very averse to it. Like, we know how to work our way around the system big time. So imagine we bring that know-how here with all this land. The land's so fertile here, you drop an avocado seed in the ground and it starts to grow. You know?
I see you planting up your okra and your banana and all of them things there, and I'm like, hating me, boy. I'm like, I want to be where Biggs is, you know? Like, I look really with I don't want to use the word envy, but I'm like, wow, look at where you are.
I just think it's so bold.
It's so bold and so beautiful.
Absolutely.
But there's going to be lots of people thinking, you know, how, yeah, okay, so move to Africa, great, yeah, but how do I do that?
How do you do it? All right, there's
Transition.
lots of ways. So, like, for example, in the last 3 years, Ghana has done a thing called the right to return. And the Ghanaian government have said they've made $1.8 billion off of returning African American and Black, British and Afro-Caribbean returnees home. Their economy has gone up by about $1.8 billion. Billion.
Wow.
Right? From us bringing our investments home, look how many rich Black people there are in the West. You know, like, we're the kind of people, we can go out and spend £1,000 in a club in London or New York. Do you know that an acre of land out here costs £500? So just your one bottle of champagne in a West End club, you can have an acre of prime real estate here in Africa, farming land. Yeah, so we just need to reshift.
Educated with. This is what we need to education.
Exactly. So in Tanzania here, I don't know how much you guys know. Let me walk closer to my Wi-Fi because I stopped moving. That's why I keep asking if you can hear me. My picture's frozen. You can hear me, right?
We just can't see you moving.
All right. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm stuck. Let me get my Wi-Fi. 1 sec. Yeah, I have my little dongle I'm running with. Let's hope that works. So yeah. So basically, it's we're fighting for the right to return here, like in Ghana, you know. So I'm actually here right now in the Jamaican consulate, you know. So that's where I live.
Wow, okay.
So my auntie's an honorary consul, Betty Delphos Ington, an amazing woman, amazing Black woman who like came and made a full life out here from scratch, you know, someone I really admire and someone I've been working with for like 10 years. Me and her she has a big spot here that I used to run on her behalf. She has a few businesses, but I've always had my farm. So she's really now agitating for the right to return for Afro-Caribbean people to Tanzania. She's in Uganda as we speak. So I'm kind of looking after the consulate. So I'm basically the honorary consul at the moment in Tanzania till she comes back. Exactly. So we're fighting for that. This is a place, I don't know if you've heard in the news, but the President Magufuli, he was the one that used the WHO COVID-19 test kits, and he tested papaya, goat, engine oil, orange, and this. So he tested 30 samples. None of them were human. 9 of them came back positive. So the joke was he tested engine oil, and he tested brake fluid. He said we got good news and we got bad news. The good news is the engine oil was negative, but the brake fluid was positive for COVID-19. Wow. So this is the kind of place we're in. It was a communist government. It's amazing. The guy's not following the WHO. Like, I know a lot of people are going to go against me, but I'm not down for this pandemic. This is a new kind of flu that they're using to usher in martial law. They saw it wasn't working good, so now there's agent provocateurs in America, white policemen setting fires and pretending like it's Black people. Once they burn out all of those homes, there's going to be no places for those Black people to move back to. This is ethnic cleansing again. You know, it's social cleansing that's going on. So by hook or by crook, they're bringing in their New World Order. And what it's about is Europe's failing. The West is falling, like their population have dwindled. The reason the numbers in Italy and stuff like that and Spain is so high, because they have 60% of their population is over 65 years old. In Africa, it's 70% of the population is under 18 years old. It's a young, vibrant population. So yes, there is something called Corona going on. Of course we know, but it's a new form of the flu. I don't know why it's affecting so much Black people in England and America, and there's no Black people in Africa and the Caribbean dying, just a handful.
Exactly on that point, we've just been told. And do you know what? This is a whole nother subject that I really would love to get into with you, and we really want to touch on.
We need to do part 2 with you, please.
So we're just conscious of time. And also, you know, just reading some of the comments, guys, if I look down, I'm not looking at my phone, I'm reading comments on an iPad because we're trying to multitask, so please bear with me. Just reading some of the comments. Biggs, you raised some fantastic points. I think critically what I want to take it back to before we let you go, we definitely are going to talk to you at some stage again. We really need to. There's too much to try and pack into, well, it's now almost 45 minutes. We were supposed to keep it to half an hour. But before you go, I just want you to really give us maybe 1 or 2 potential solutions that you can see to solving this? So you've spoken about repatriation, that's one. But for those who it's not possible for, what else can we, and when we're talking to everybody, because as you said, none of us are blameless. Black people aren't blameless and white people aren't. We all have a responsibility. So what
I'll
can
tell
people
you,
do?
it's very simple. So let me tell you, racism is not something that's aimed at black people alone. Racism is nothing to do with race. Racism is always economic. There used to be racist against Chinese. There used to be racist against Japanese. So the fucking Japanese got their act together, started making shit and started selling it to the West, and now they're forced to respect the Japanese. They're forced to respect the Chinese. They've got no issue with the color of our skin. They know how powerful black skin is. White kings have been trying to breed with black women for the last 2,000 years. They know Jesus was an African. They know Jesus was black. The Pope worships a black Madonna and a black Christ. So don't let them trick you and let you think they have a problem with black skin. They have a problem with our economic capabilities. The fact that we're so divided, the fact that it's so easy to come between us, and it's so easy to beat us down in the buds. We're the strongest fucking people on earth. Like, why are we allowing that? They can't believe that they're getting away with this. They cannot believe that they have been getting away with this for so long. Well, we're such sweet and kind-hearted people. We invited them into Mother Africa to enslave us, and we still allowed them to come into Africa.
So how do we get organized? How do we get organized? Leave us with a gem as to how really just the regular John or Michael or whoever watching this.
Unite, buy black, spend black. Look at what the Indians do. The Indians come to England, and what they do, they'll live in one room, 4 families, until they can afford 2 rooms. And then they have a corner shop, and that corner shop buys another corner shop. Our issue is because we spent 400 years in slavery and 150 years in colonialism. The first £1,000 we make, we buy a gold chain with it. The first 10 grand we make, we buy a bimmer. The first 20 grand we make, we pop champagne and pour it in the ground, because we need to prove ourselves, because we were beaten for free labor for 400 years. We need to get past that post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Buy black, right?
Well, we need healing. We need to come together economically. So I think those 2 points are clear. And for those who feel like they just don't want to be in a system anymore that doesn't want or like them, there is always the option to repatriate. And as you said, Biggs, there is Google, there are many resources. People, do your research. Visit the country first. Kwame, who's on watching it, said every person who has black skin, in fact, everybody should visit Africa, not just black skin. Everybody should visit the cradle of civilization, where it all started.
Everybody's African, you know. Everybody is African. I said what people need to realize is everybody is African, because humans came out of Africa.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So everybody should visit. I mean, it's a beautiful place anyway, but everybody should visit. But before you leave us, we have everybody watching, you know, all races, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, all orientations. We welcome everybody to watch this. For us in particular, for our white friends who are watching this, who are saying, what can I do? And maybe they're too afraid to do anything because they fear that they might do the wrong thing. Please just give us a little gem. We've got like about a minute before we have to go on to our next one. But give us a little gem about
what you can do is don't be blind to the systematic racism, and use your white privilege to help your black friends. White privilege is very real. And look, I can't even go around the fact that there's some element of brown privilege. I have to admit, I have it slightly better than some of my dark-skinned black male friends. Like, I see how the system deals with them. You know, imagine how the system deals with me. Like, I have some brothers who are black, like the color black. And I see how fearful the system are of them. And whenever we used to get stopped by police, I used to stand up in the front, because I know, boy, if the police hit him, he's going to hit him on the head. If the police hit me, they might hit me on my arm or my legs or something, because they're probably assuming I have a white mother or something. But if they hit my brethren there, he's going to get it right in his head. So use your white privilege as an example. When you see indiscretion, speak out against it and don't stand for it, and stop thinking that black is something to be feared. Like, we've forgiven you guys for slavery and colonialism and cultural appropriation. Tell your parents that we're not bad people. Stop voting for fucking Donald Trump and Boris Johnson and the likes of those people. I've so many of these East London creatives who live in London and all about black culture, but their fucking parents live in the Cotswolds and they vote for Conservative Party. You know, talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, explain to them.
Talk to your children.
You know? Talk to your children. Exactly.
And speak up in the workplace, I think.
Yes,
as well.
definitely
speak up. So many microaggressions and people stand by and they say nothing and they know it's wrong. Speak up. I think that's the most powerful thing that you've said. Speak up in solidarity with us because we all have to fix this problem.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Biggs.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bless.
Part 2 with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's talk about the pandemic next time.
We'll talk about the pandemic. We'll definitely talk about that. And hopefully we can come and visit you.
Please do. We need you out here. I need my sisters. Yeah, that's our land. I need my sisters out here, you know. I need the strength. Blessed. All right. Give thanks.
Big, sending you much blessings. And in fact, before you go, can you just put your details? Because I'm sure there's going to be many people who maybe want to question you a bit more on your thoughts and maybe a bit about Tanzania and just what we've discussed in general. So if you can you just type in your social handle in the comment box for us? I think it's
Rockers LDN. See it there? I just posted it.
Okay, brilliant.
All right. Bye, ladies. Have a nice evening.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Yeah, that was
wow. I think we should have just went the full hour.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We've got a lot to get through tonight. We've got a lot of comments. We've got 10 minutes. I think we should try and deal with some of the comments that we've had. Someone said, thank you for your enlightenment. Our people need to hear these things and they need to appreciate Africa and not see it as alien to them. Somebody else said, nothing more to say. We've heard it. What are we going to do? So, you know, this is about solutions. Talking about the economics of it, you know, kind of where we should be focusing our resources, right? And how we should be trying to better ourselves as people.
But I do think it's also about educating. You have to start educating yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Because I totally agree with what Biggs is saying, and I really salute him for what he's doing and what he's done in terms of making that transition. But I still feel, even with us saying, all right, we're going to go back to Africa, our mindset, you know what I'm saying? There has to be a level of an adjustment. And I do sincerely, for me, you know, it's got to start with healing. We have to heal first and to educate ourselves first to be able to start looking at economics and things like that. Because it's, you know, there is so many black businesses out there, but not all black people will support those businesses. We still got the mindset of still going to, say, Asda or going to all the, you know, those local shops kind of thing, but we will not go and travel, say, to Tottenham to that sister that is selling fruits and veg. You know what I'm saying? We won't support the business. So in order for those things to start happening, we need to deal with self first, because we're going to keep on having the same conversation. Then the next generation is going to still having the same conversation, and it just becomes a conversation. There's no action.
Well, I think that the healing is really important, and for those of you that are watching, we're going to invite another guest on, and we're going to have a chat with him. And this time, it's a white man. He's a headmaster, and he has been really brave and is prepared to put himself out there and to have the conversation. As Kaz and I said, this conversation is going to be respectful, it's going to be positive, and it's going to seek solutions. And that is what we're here to do. So we're not here to condemn anybody, to blame and to castigate anyone. So please treat him with the respect that he deserves. But after we've spoken to Elroy, we are going to open it up for anybody who wants to join the live to come on, and for you to share your views. I know that feelings are running high, and we want to give people their opportunity to air their views. And really, if you have a suggestion in terms of solutions, no matter what your ethnic background, because as we said, it involves all of us, we want you to share your views. So please think about that. One of the things we've spoken about is healing. we have to talk about how we start that healing process from our traumas.
Definitely, 100%. But we're going to bring in Elroy, and I'm mindful, so we may need to restart again and to continue the conversation, and then we will obviously open up the platform for those who would like to share, so send us a request in the next hour. Okay, so Elroy, thank you so much for being so patient. Oh my God, right. Gosh, you know something? Oh, there he is. There we go.
So do you just want to say a bit about Elroy while we're waiting?
Yeah, there he is.
He's almost here.
Hello, Elroy. How you doing, Mr. Carhill?
Hi.
You good?
Not too bad, thank you very much, Cass.
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. But before, yeah, we can hear you fine. Yes, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello, can you hear us, Elroy?
Yeah, I can indeed, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So if you don't mind just letting the viewers know who you are and what you do. Hello?
There's a delay.
Oh, there's a delay,
So I'm a head teacher. So I'm a head teacher of a secondary school in West London. I've been working in education since I came to the UK around 13 years ago. And most of that's been spent in London. So I spent 7 or 8 years teaching in South London, in Mitcham and in Brixton. And I think it's something that certainly has opened up my eyes to just how unequal society is, particularly for students from the Black community. And it's something that I feel quite strongly about.
Elroy, do you know what? We're actually going to restart the live because we don't want you to get cut off in about 5 or 10 minutes, but also to try and get a less delayed connection, because we'll probably struggle. So bear with us, guys. We're going to don't go anywhere. We're going to log straight off and come straight back on again. So please do join us.